Hello and welcome to my review of the Legion Mk.VI Assault Squad for Warhammer the Horus Heresy from Games Workshop. Now this review is a long time coming. I unboxed this set over 2 months ago, sort of towards the end of December, so thank you all for your patience. Not sure really what delayed this. I think I was working a lot over the Christmas period, and also I didn't find this kit very inspiring. You know, there's a lot of hype behind it. I know many people were after Assault Marines for quite some time. I think we even got Legions Imperialis little plastic assault squads before we got this set, and yeah, this set really should have come out with the release of Plastic Horus Heresy sort of 2 years ago. I would have happily have foregone a different Sicaran variant or a different Predator variant in lieu of these. You know, I think a lot of people were after assault squads sort of a couple of years ago, and they finally arrived, and they are meh. They're pretty lackluster, I have to say. They'll cost you £42.50 for 10 of them, which is quite a lot, and consists of 200 plastic components. You think that's a lot, and you think, oh right, well you're going to have a lot of spare parts and things, but actually no, you don't really have that many spare parts, even with 200 pieces. We'll go through those later on, and that leads me to the structure of the review, where I will look at each one of these Assault Marines up close, then we'll go through those spare parts. I'll give you some size comparisons with other Horus Heresy units, and then at the end I'll go through all of their rules and talk you through why it's a bit of a disappointing kit. So let's start off with the Sergeant. Well, the Sergeant, I think, you know, doesn't come with like a power weapon as such. I mean, yeah, lightning claws and power fists are power weapons, okay, but I mean like a power sword or a charnable weapon or anything like that. The whole set doesn't come with heavy chain swords, doesn't come with any hand flamers, Volkite serpentas, or plasma pistols. Like, plasma pistols are the biggest omission out of this set, and it's one of the biggest disappointments. You don't get a single plasma pistol, which sucks, because obviously the Sergeant can have one, and then for every 5 models in the unit you can have another plasma pistol. So yeah, I would have equipped mine with 3 plasma pistols, you see, and I think the set should include 3 of them minimum. It should include hand flamers, maybe Volkite serpentas as well. I just feel like there's a missing sprue in this set, with a load of options and things, with a load of extra weapon options. If they had more power weapons in the unit, if they had more plasma pistols, hand flamers, more weapons for the Sergeant, I would recommend it. But as it is literally 10 Assault Marines, with the Sergeant having a power fist or dual lightning claws, and then all of the other Assault Marines having chain swords and bolt pistols, or chain swords and combat shields. So you can't even have bolt pistols with the combat shields. You don't get any holsters with bolt pistols either. It would give you the idea that they've just holstered their bolt pistol while they're using that shield with that one arm. In 40k even, we had some combat shields that were attached to the wrist, and you know, they could still fire their bolt pistols and things, but yet in this set we don't get that. But anyway, before I go too negative, let's have a look at the Sergeant. So this is the Sergeant of the set. I've equipped mine with lightning claws. I think for the next set of 10, which will probably be in a box set with other things, I will upgrade them and use parts from my other plastic Horus Heresy Marines. I'll use a power sword and have a plasma pistol with one. I think you get those weapons with the normal Mk.VI unit anyway, but it would be nice to have them in this set. A very big plus though is the jump pack. I think the jump packs are awesome. You've got 1 main thruster and 2 auxiliary. I think 2 massive intakes. The lightning claws, look, they look fragile with this extra power unit on the top, and then you've got the power fists themselves, so you can't really have, so you kind of have to have them as power fists and lightning claws, which is a bit odd because you can't use the rules for them being power fists. The sergeant's helmet, I guess, has a little Aquila symbol and some iconography there, so you know, if you're a traitor, you kind of looked out there. Maybe you have to go for the bare-headed one like they have on their box art for Sons of Horus. But that's the sergeant, and then the rest of them, it's their poses. They're not the best poses. You know, this one is kind of almost fallen over, but you know, the shields and the chainswords, they don't really work as well as I would have expected. I've tried to put them in some decent poses, but look, this one is sort of going that way. I've raised the chainsword. This one's not too bad, kind of about to take flight, but it just seems like, you know, their poses don't reflect the fact that they're, you know, they fly and that they've got the jetpacks, they've got the jump packs. This one just swiped down, I think that's why he's left his guard open. This one about to diagonally swipe down, that's an alright pose. This one about to leap up. I'm just not convinced, that's all. I'm just not convinced with any of these poses. I'm just not convinced with these poses. This one about to step forward, maybe. Yeah, it's odd. It kind of looks like these are just walking about, and maybe there's a couple that are in motion. This one is swiping down. It's not too bad. But yeah, they're just a bit off, I think. I mean, even if you look at their box art, look, I've put that one in that pose. I mean, maybe they work better with the bolt pistols and chainswords rather than the shields. So as I say, when I get a second set, I'll definitely be using the bolt pistols, but adding my own plasma pistols in there as well, and giving the sergeant like a power weapon. But yeah, with the combat shields, I'm not sure. You might want to mix it up and have 5 of them with bolt pistols and the other 5 with combat shields. But I think, you know, 10 assault marines is much more survivable, you know, considering that they've got their 1 wound each, and they will get picked on. Let's have a look at the spare parts then. So 200 sounds like a lot, but in reality, these are just the spare parts that you'll get. You'll get 1 extra combat shield, 1 extra chainsword. You'll get a number of these extra pouches and things, but none of them have the bolt pistol in. Speaking of which, we've got a number of bolt pistols here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you get just the number of bolt pistols required for the 10 Space Marines. You're only getting 3 spare heads, 2 spare arms, some holsters without the bolt pistols in, which I'll definitely be using for the next unit of 10. But these are the spare heads. I think you only get 1 unhelmeted head, which is the one on their box art. But this one's quite funky, and this one is the duplicate for the sergeant. So you don't get many options at all. The only kind of option I guess you have is the only kind of customization you have is, you know, the arms and the bolt pistols and the combat shields and heads are all, you know, customizable. It's just the legs and the torsos are going to look the same. So if you do have if you do get another unit of 10, all of the leg poses are going to be, you know, duplicated again. But they will probably look quite different if they're equipped with bolt pistols. You just got to be wary of, you know, the chainsword poses compared to your combat shield equipped Marines. So yeah, not much going on the old spare parts front. So compared to Horus Heresy miniatures, we'll start off with other Space Marines. We'll kick off with the Mk.VIs, why not? So here's a normal Mk.VI, probably kind of a similar pose. They're exactly the same height, guys. There's no differences whatsoever. So if you're running Mk.VIs along with the Assault Marines, they're gonna fit right in, you know, if you're running Raven Guard or something, and you want an all Beaky army, they're going to fit in very nicely. If you're going for the new Mk.IIIs, I don't know whether they will fit with the new Mk.IIIs. They are, again, same height. It's just the armour is so different, so almost looked like different game systems, but there you go. Mk.IV is obviously still a joke. Compared to Mk.VI, it's the smallest of all the armours. You know, it's almost like comparing them to, I'll just bring out my usual standard Space Marines. It's almost similar to that, really. Would they work with normal Space Marines if you tried to use them in 40k? Depends on the Space Marine, but maybe you could use them. I think as like a relic suit of armour unit, put some narrative in. I don't see that many issues using them in 40k. Obviously, you know, not with the obviously I don't think you can have the combat shields with them, but there is that. And then the old Mk.III, yeah, I'd probably say even more of a discrepancy than the sort of slimmer Mk.III. I don't know whether that kind of goes, maybe it looks like a different game system. That definitely looks out of place compared to like Mk.VIs. So I try and keep to Mk.VIs as much as you possibly can with these Assault Marines, because that's where they definitely share that synergy. Compared to something like the Ashen Circle, which I'm about to review, these are in the Mk.III, I want to say. I think it's Mk.III, but yeah, look at that. There's not much in it, really. I think the Ashen Circle are nicely sized, and they are in better, look at these positions, these poses are so cool. They actually give you a sense of motion and things, these resin kits, compared to the plastic. But size wise, again, you're not going to have too many issues. I just really like the thrusters, the old school thrusters, for these Ashen Circle for word bearers. But yeah, if you're going up against Ashen Circle, against Mk.VIs, you're not going to have any issues. You know, the jetpacks make them look way bigger than they are, so that still works. I wouldn't use them together though. I try and avoid that, but unfortunately they haven't made any, you know, Mk.III or Mk.IV Assault Marines, have they? So yeah, we're kind of stuck with Mk.VIs at the moment. I can't show you them compared to Corvus Corax because I haven't built him yet, but you know, no doubt when I do build him, I will give you a comparison next to these, of course. So last comparison is just with the usual miniatures that I like to review. So as I say, standard Space Marines, depends on the pose really. This one is, they're a bit taller. Slime Marbo is, yeah, chest height, and then an Intercessor is a fair bit taller. Look at that, big difference there between them. So yeah, hope that helps with the comparisons. As I say, they work very well with the current Mk.VI. You'd expect them to. Okay, this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Legiones Astartes Mk.VI Assault Squad. You will find them in your troops section of your book. I know, it's a lot to take in, but yeah, they don't count as fast attack, despite having those Legion Warhawk jump packs, they're called. So one of these units will cost you 145 points and consists of 9 Legionaries and 1 Legion Assault Sergeant. Their stat line is as follows for the Legionaries. Their movement is 7 inches, weapon skill 4+, weapon skill is 4, ballistic skill 4, strength and toughness are both 4, 1 wound, initiative 4, attack 1 attack, leadership 7 and a save of 3+. The Sergeant gets 1 extra attack at 2 and leadership of 8. War gear, they've got bolt pistols, chainswords, Legion Warhawk jump packs, power armour, frag grenades and crack grenades. They are an infantry unit type and the Sergeant is a character. Special rules, the special rules is Legiones Astartes. Options, a Legion Assault Squad may take up to 10 additional Legionaries at 12 points each. So that's brilliant. You can have, you know, up to 20 of them in a unit, which is horrific and will actually save you some points as opposed to having 2 separate units of 10. The entire unit may take combat shields at +2 points per model. If you don't know what a combat shield is by now, then I don't know what you've been doing, but a combat shield confers a 6+ invulnerable save, which is nice, just gives them an extra bit of survivability there. They've got their bolt pistols anyway, so it's not like they're replacing them. You know, they come equipped with those. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 Legionary may exchange his chainsword for one of the following: heavy chainsword for 2 points, power weapon for 5 points, or a charnable weapon for 5. So this is where you get the extra little bonuses and where the points cost might add up. You know, if you've got 10 of them, you could have 2 with power weapons sneakily just inserted in there. For every 5 models, 1 Legionary may exchange his bolt pistol for the following: hand flamer for 5 points, Volkite Serpenter for 5, or plasma pistol for 10. Again, sneak in a couple of plasma pistols. That bumps it up to another 20 extra points, plus the 10 for the power weapons. That's an extra 30 points. We're running at 175 now. Then the Sergeant may exchange a bolt pistol or chainsword for one of the following: plasma pistol, that's another 10 points, hand flamer for 5, Volkite Serpenter for 5, heavy chainsword for 2, power weapon for 10, charnable weapon for 10, power fist for 15, lightning claw for 10. So again, if you want to give him a plasma pistol and power weapon, if you think that's worth it, that's, you know, going to be an extra 20 points on top of your total. And it does add up. You know, if you want to give your Sergeant, who's only got 1 wound at the end of the day and won't have a combat shield, if you want to give him, you know, an extra 20 points worth of weaponry, you can do, but, you know, at the end of the day, he's still only weapon skill 4 and save of 3+ and 1 wound. The Legion Assault Sergeant may exchange his bolt pistol and chainsword for 2 lightning claws for 15 points, which mine has done, although I've done that to reflect the options that you get in the box set. The Legion Assault Sergeant may take melter bombs for 10 points. I think I've mistakenly glued melter bombs on one of the other Assault Marines, but never mind. The Legion Assault Sergeant may exchange his power armour for artificer armour for another 10 points. I think that makes his save 2+. Again, I don't know whether that's worth it for such a baseline sort of troop to get access to melter bombs, power sword and plasma pistol, get the artificer armor. All of these extra things, they do add up, and you've got to weigh up whether it's worth it. I mean, if you're building a force that just has assault marines and it's a narrative Raven Guard force or something, then yeah, that's cool to upgrade all these kits, and they can go around and they can capture objectives and things. But typically, competitively, you want to get as much value from your points as you possibly can. And that's it for the Legion Assault Squad. I want to say thank you for your patience and waiting for so long for this review to come out. As I say, I wasn't that motivated to build it. It's quite a lackluster kit. It's not as incredible as, say, you know, some of the Horus Heresy Space Marine tank kits that I've reviewed. It's probably as disappointing as the Deredio kit when I reviewed that. This kit could have been so much more. They've definitely missed an opportunity here. I wonder if they'll bring out another one in the new Mk.VI. I doubt it though. But at least we do have this kit. We now have plastic Mk.VI Assault Space Marines, But to get the best out of this kit, I would definitely recommend you look at you know, finding some power swords and plasma pistols from elsewhere and upgrading this kit. But I feel for £42.50 we shouldn't have to be cannibalising other kits. We should have, you know, all the plasma pistols, all the flamers and the power swords and things in with it. But as it stands, we've just got bolt pistols, combat shields and chain swords. Bit of a lackluster kit, I'm afraid. What do you guys think of the kit and the unit? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.